created lot, created from road plan 8251 ET into one lot. Attached, you'll see Lacombe bylaw 378 to close the portion of the road plan. We're requesting that council give first reading to bylaw 378 and hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 13th at 6:30 p.m. to consider bylaw 378.
Thank you. Councillor Connick, then Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Christie. I would so move that council give first reading to bylaw 378 and that a public hearing be held on Tuesday, November 13th at 6:30 p.m. to consider bylaw 378.
That was both?
Sure.
Super. Thank you. Councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mayor Christie. The only question I have is that Mr. Nugent is aware of all of the conditions, Crystal?
To the best of my knowledge, he is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There's a motion on the floor for first reading and public hearing to be held November 13th at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? So carried. Thank you. Thank you. Financial Services Property Tax Penalty Bylaw. Director Minchin.
Before you tonight is a recommendation from administration to make a minor change to our property tax penalty bylaw. Currently, bylaw includes penalties from January to May. One of the concerns that's been identified from staff is that there's a timing issue with regards to the May 1st penalty and when tax notices are actually submitted. Sorry, the June 1st penalty, sorry. What happens is the penalties are levied and tax notices go out, and then another June penalty is levied, and those in arrears aren't usually aware of that until they actually come in and pay the previous statement. So what we're looking at doing is making a change on the June penalty, rolling that back to May, so that the overall arrears penalty and on the supplementary aren't affected, but that when we send out the tax notice for that year, the balance is what the balance is until the current levy penalty of July 1st is actual levy. So the other change we've done is just, of course, update some of the housekeeping with regards to reference to town, as well as move these penalty schedules or penalties actually into an actual schedule as opposed to the body of the bylaw.
Thank you. Members? Councillor Creasy?
Thanks, Mayor Christie. So bylaw 362, the existing one, then provides for a 9% penalty on current taxes on July 1st, and that's going to be changed to, I looked through this at great length and I couldn't figure out exactly what it was we were changing because it's very little.
Right. Yeah. The only change is on the arrears. The June 1st arrears of 1% will be rolled back to May, so that May will be a 2% change. There's no change to the current penalties on the current levy.
So even if they were to pay it, I guess then that begs the question: what happens if they pay their arrears then at the 1st of May? Then they're basically prepaying for June arrears already.
No, if they pay if they pay the arrears after the May 1st, then when the tax notice comes out, depending on that time of year, it'll show up on the tax notice. But there won't be any further arrears penalties for that year until the end of the year.
And theoretically, this is going to reduce some of the stress on staff. Would we could imagine an earful when people come in to pay this late, and then there's an extra penalty.
Yeah, that plus as well, hopefully encourage when people do come to resolve this, and they know exactly what balance they have to pay.
Thank you.
Councillor Foster?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Christie. I was just going to say it's a real common sense approach to being proactive on the there's not confusion and they know up front that there's an extra charge going to be happening. So, excuse me, you're looking for to be moved that we go all three readings, bylaw 379, or just the first? I think this is so straightforward that I don't see a reason for not doing all three, but
That's
I'll be open to
purely up to council. The bylaw really doesn't have any effect until the next
it's a
meeting, so
housekeeping.
whether it's approved in one meeting or two.
Yeah.
It's
So I would
discretion.
so move that we give first, second, and third readings. If I can do that,
We
or
have to
do I
do
do one
separately.
at a time? Or
That's
one
right.
at a time first, so first reading.
Thank you. Any further, Councillor Creasy?
Thank you. Just one question for Michael. I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. Did you say that it really doesn't make any difference if we do the third reading on the second meeting? And I'll tell you why I would prefer to do it just three at once. It's going to create grief that we don't need.
Yes, no, that's fine.
If anybody wants to have input, at least they haven't had an opportunity. Whether they should do it or not is another
Sure,
thing. But
no, it's, again, this is administrative change, and so we can certainly bring this back on October 22nd.
Thank you. There is a motion on the floor. Any further discussion on first reading? All those in favor? So carried. Thank you. Are you willing to give move second reading? Councillor Creasy?
I would do so. Move that. Actually, I'm writing on the right one. I go with number. Is it 379 be given second reading as presented?
Thank you very much. Any further discussion on the second reading? All those in favor? So carried. And we will, looks like we'll hold third reading. Thank you. We will move on to police, Lacombe Police Commission membership. Bylaw 78.6, Director Minchin.
Thank you, Mayor Christie. In response to a resolution from the Lacombe Police Service Commission Board, we brought forward tonight a bylaw amendment to the Police Commission bylaw. And that deals with the number of appointments to the actual commission. Currently there are 5 commission appointees, one of which is a council member. The board, certainly, there's board representatives here tonight, so I'm going to give this to him. For further comment, there was a feeling that with only 5 members, that quorum in terms of trying to get meetings and with scheduling conflicts, and with the amount of workload that's involved with being on the commission now, that expanding the commission was an appropriate step to do. We didn't get specific direction in terms of the actual composition, so we have looked at adding 1 member of council, 1 member of public at large. However, we are looking at just the first reading tonight, and we will actually send this back to the commission to see if they have a preference.
Thank you. Members, council, discussion? Councillor Redmond?
I move that City Council provide first reading of bylaw 78.6 as presented.
Councillor Foster?
Thanks, Mayor Christie. So my understanding is then we just leave it at that, Michael? Is that what you're saying? And take it back to the commission to see if they want to specify a number? Why wouldn't we know that up front?
No, that the additional number requested is 2 from 5 to 7. It's a question of whether those are 2 members at large or 1 member of council and one member at large. You're allowed under the Police Act to have up to 2 members of council, and with going to 7 members, you would be able to do that now. But without comment from the commission, I think that would be it. They have a meeting on the 17th, if I remember, so you would have that feedback prior to the next meeting of council.
Councillor Belsma?
Thanks. As a member of the commission, we certainly did feel that it was appropriate that we go up 2 members, especially since it's been years since that particular body has increased in size, but our population has increased substantially since then. There were a number of other minor reasons for going ahead with this. but we feel that the police commission, being responsible for our police service in Lacombe, it made sense that we have a little bit more input and from more people to be able to make decisions rather than having them with the limited amount of people that were there at this present time. I would like to have a quick question though. On behalf of the commission, I would like to understand why it was indicated in there 2 members in the actual bylaw draft. It shall be, I'll read it, 3.1, the commission shall consist of 7 members, 5 of which shall be selected from the public at large, and 2 shall be members of council or employees of the municipality. I'm trying to understand why you indicate employees.
Director Mitchell?
That wording comes straight from the act, actually. You're actually allowed to have officers of the city as members of the police commission.
Voting members?
That, we did check the act on that. I saw that too. That is right from the section of the act with regards to appointments. I'm not aware of the city ever appointing.
No, because on any of our other boards and commissions, employees aren't eligible, so. Okay, thank you.
The only other exception that's out there under the act and the MGA is actually NPC.
Thank you, Michael. Councillor Connick?
Thank you, Mayor Christie. Does this 7, is the mayor and the CEO over and above the 7 yet? Because you guys included within the 7?
No. No, I'm not on that border commission.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you could sit on that one if you wanted to.
I'm
Ex officio, maybe.
Ex officio member, yeah.
The CAO attends every meeting, but does not have voting privileges.
Perfect. Welcome. Any further discussion? We're looking for first reading. Motion is on the floor. All those in favor? So carried. Thank you very, very much. Council and Legislative Council Committee meeting, October 15th, 2012. Director Minchin.
Quickly, we've had scheduled committee meetings for the rest of the year. Of course, now with the budget schedule now set, we're proposing that the October 15th meeting be cancelled.
All right, thank you. Discussion. Councillor Connick.
I would move then that council cancel the October 15, 2012 council committee meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Bosma, any discussion there? Okay, thank you. All those in favor? So carried. Municipal sustainability planning, verbal update. Director Minchin.
Just quickly, I hope to have had a meeting with our CSAT group, which is the steering committee, but that didn't work out last week. Now confirmed the meeting for next Thursday of this week, with regards to a number of items that were brought up at the weekend training sessions. So we'll be having that meeting Thursday. So a couple of the items that we'll be exploring further is the terms of reference for the original committee in terms of the number of volunteers that we include. We've done a couple of other public consultations at the farmers market, most notably. Certainly got far more participation at those types at that event. So that certainly we'll be developing a list on Thursday with regards to where else we can go out to the community to get that feedback and who would be doing some of that work. So those would be our 2 major items, and then we'll be bringing that back to council on the 22nd of October with regards to updating the terms of reference.
Perfect, thank you. Councillor Creasy, then Councillor Rempel.
Thank you, Mayor Christie. I'm just wondering, with our current time frame for this project, what are the negatives of postponing it? I mean, the individual that was in charge of this particular report is no longer with us, and I'm just wondering if we're not being a little premature by pushing it forward. I mean, everybody had indicated they would just as soon do a more thorough job of this rather than getting it done just for the sake of getting it done. I just wanted to know what the implications of postponing it for a period of time were.
So one of the items, and we got that on Thursday, is a revised schedule to actually extend, regardless of who the staff or from the city's point of view, is actually to extend the public consultation process further. And so that will be part of the terms of reference that we bring back to council on the 22nd. In the interim, Brendan Bond and myself are leading that group, and we actually expanded the city support for that project further, involving community services and planning now. So we're going to work on we'll develop a plan that's workable based on the resources we have. Councillor Rempel.
Thank you, Mayor Christie. Just a question for you, Michael. A lot of times we don't get a lot of input from our citizens when we do have public consultations. And you said that the farmers market idea worked quite well. Do you have an idea of how many people responded over that time?
We did the one. We actually had three events going on that time. We've got 24, 25 surveys back so far on that. And we probably handed out 50 or so, but we've got 20. I'll only count the ones I've actually got. So it's about, I think there's 20, 25%.
Excellent, thank you.
For a couple hours worth.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
All right, any further questions, Director Minchin, on that? Thank you, Michael. Wolf Creek Crossing, Phase 1A, Development Agreement. You're up again. It's the Michael show tonight.
So before you tonight are the final items with regards to the Wolf Creek development agreement. And there's actually two issues before council, and I want to deal with the conditions of the development agreement first. If you're not amenable to those, then the second part becomes mute. So the first part tonight deals with the items specific to the development agreement that are not within our standard development agreement. So the first item, which is fairly straightforward, this development, Phase 1A in particular, will require the installation of traffic lights at Wolf Creek and Highway 12. Based on the traffic assessment study that the developers had to do, and based on our traffic modeling standards that the city has, we've determined that 80% of the traffic flow generated for necessitating those lights will be from the development itself. And that includes not just the commercial, but they'll develop the entire quarter section. The other 20% exists within the existing community. Based on those guidelines, we've brought forward a funding formula for traffic lights at 80-20. The developers agreeable to that. This is a fairly positive step on the city side. I've often seen these at 50-50. So and these are just for the lights. The developer actually has to do some upgrades to the intersection in terms of turning lanes, and those are 100% borne by the developer. The next item, and the more important item, deals with the conditions of security. I think this has been discussed not at this council as a whole, but certainly the idea has been out there. The developer had put forward security, rather than providing a line of credit or cash security of 25% of the infrastructure for each phase, that they would put forward a titled lot free and clear of all encumbrances. So that wording, in consultation with the city solicitor, has now been incorporated into the draft agreement. But we really are looking for council's endorsement in principle of that concept. That's certainly not something that administration can approve on its own. The first part, Mayor Christie, are for council's consideration. There is a request to proceed with construction, but if the security item identified above is agreeable to council, then that becomes that answers itself. So.
Thank you. Councillor Creasy.
Thanks, Mayor Christie. First off, I would suggest that we get this developer to do all our streetlights, because at $200,000 it seems to be far more reasonable than what we budgeted. I was just wondering how they're able to do them so much less expensive than what we seem to have been.
The $200,000 is strictly just the structure itself. It is not including any of the landscaping, any of the curb and gutter, any of the other stuff. Highway, when we do the final costing for Highway 12 and CNE, actually those numbers came in really positive as well. So those costs were considerably less than we had we'll be under budget for that one. So those costs will be similar to this one.
Okay, and my other question was with respect to the land in lieu of cash or letter of credit. Well, I realize this is unusual, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, I was just curious, why only 25% of the cost, given that our current agreement is 50? I was, obviously this land has been valued, a valuation or assessment of some sort. What percentage does it actually have? Or does it represent that number?
We've taken enough to cover slightly over the 25%, if I'm not mistaken. It will be using that for phase 1B as well, so it wouldn't be enough to cover 50. This agreement and this development's been in process prior to the council's change of 50%, so that's the reason why.
No, I appreciate that, but I mean, this is a relatively new thing to do. I don't have a problem with it in general. I'm just curious why, I mean, while they were doing land, transferring the title of 2 properties to make it closer to 50, I mean, basically we're going out of the way to accommodate this development. And I'm just curious why it was at the low end, that's all.
Yeah. And understood, one of the parties that had to be party to this was actually the financial group that's mortgaging this. We could have asked for more. One of the bigger issues that we had was making sure we got a piece that was actually marketable. They could have gave us 50%. It could have been in the southeast part of the quarter, which we might take 10 years to get. So liquidity was a big concern for us, so that the phase 1B parcel is immediately adjacent to phase 1A, and I don't anticipate them wanting us to keep that any longer than we absolutely had to. So that was kind of the trade-off, is that if we wanted 50, we were going to get land that was probably not readily serviceable or saleable.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Foster?
Thanks, Mayor Christie. I am very pleased that the administration and the developer have come up with a very unique way of completing this, and I think that it's really going to show that we're open for business. So I appreciate the fact that we've been able to come up with this. So I would like to make the first motion that council approve the following additions to the development agreement for Wolf Creek Crossing Phase 1A. The contribution by the city of 20% of the cost of the installation of traffic lights at Highway 12 and Wolf Creek Crossing, the city's estimated contribution being $40,400. Do you want me to do B as well at the same time?
Sure.
And B, substituting of land in lieu of cash or letter of credit as security for the completion of municipal improvements.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion on the security and the lights? All those in favor? So carried. Thank you. And then there's a second one there that you want some direction on, Michael, is that correct?
So the second request, the developer, and this was received a week ago, was to proceed with actual construction of underground servicing. The developer would like to move forward with that before winter, and he's really pushing his luck as well. Snow tomorrow. However, they are really waiting to go. Our concern, of course, from an administrative point of view, is development agreements not quite ready, and more importantly, the land security is not ready. From a risk point of view, we have looked at this. Really, the only thing proceeding is on-site servicing in the road. I had some concerns with regards to impact on storm, but for the most part, those items are already were partially constructed as part of the site and grading. So any impact, any dangers would be only to the affected developments on the parcel itself, considering boarding them through rainy seasons with the existing infrastructure the way it is. This would not be an approval of the actual traffic lights, which is another thing we want to proceed, but that is off-site and on our property. on the highway right-of-way, so we would have concern moving forward on this. But this certainly would allow them to get some sites ready for, potentially for later this fall. But again, I've outlined a couple of conditions that we, administration, would recommend. They would purely be doing this at their own peril, and we'd be very clear to point that out to them. And regarding